So the 25th Space Shuttle mission is now on the way after more delays than NASA cares to count. This morning it looked as though they were not going to be able to get off.
1 minute 15 seconds, velocity 2,900 feet per second, altitude 9 nautical miles, downrange distance.
The video just shown, which was broadcast on CNN and other news networks, was of the last courageous and dedicated moments of 7 astronauts. Their names are Michael Smith, Dick Scobie, Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Gregory Jarvis, and Krista McAuliffe. They are pioneers of their time, probing the stretches of space. I am an aviation student. I know the risks associated with flying, and I can only imagine how much greater they are with space travel. Seeing this reminds me of the dangers inherent with true progress into the unknown. President Ronald Reagan, that same day in 1986, addressed the nation on public radio and television. His words ring just as clearly to us now as they did in the mid-'80s. His words were a consolation to those who mourned, a call for courage in the unknown, and a challenge for future explorers. I hope to awaken some of this resolve in you. The President said, "I know it is hard to understand, but sometimes painful things like this happen. It's all part of the process of exploration and discovery. It's all part of taking a chance and expanding man's horizons. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave." Close quote. Life is unfortunately cruel. The people we love are often snatched from us, and often we ask why, but still often we don't have an answer. But we can come together to support one another, be it in a natural disaster, a shooting, or something like this. That's the miracle of humanity. We band together, and we press on with hope in the future and love for those around us. Often the unknown can be daunting. If I may, I would also like to share a few other words spoken almost a century previous. Otto Lilienthal, an aviation pioneer from Germany, nicknamed the glider King, after a devastating accident that took his life, breathed his final words: "Sacrifices must be made." Reagan, in his address, also adds, "We've grown used to wonders in this century. It's hard to dazzle us. We've grown used to the idea of space, and perhaps we've forgotten that we've just begun. We're still pioneers." They, the members of the Challenger crew, were pioneers. The words of these two men absolutely applies to us. Our generation has grown so accustomed to the advances of technology that we hardly blink when something new hits the shelves. Our generation, and that of our children, will be among the first to experience supersonic commercial travel and commercial space travel. But how much is there that we still don't know? Another question, though, will that stop us? More often than not these days, the sacrifice will be time or money. But tragedies still happen. Sometimes lives are still lost to expand our horizons. But we can take courage, knowing that our advancements will save lives in future generations. Finally, in tribute to the fallen 7, and in tribute to all explorers, President Reagan said, "On this day 390 years ago, the great explorer Sir Francis Drake died aboard ship off the coast of Panama. In his lifetime, the great frontiers were the oceans, and a historian later said, he lived by the sea, died on it, and was buried in it." Well, today we can save the Challenger crew. Their dedication was, like Drake's, complete. The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us by the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye, and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God. We must never forget the sacrifices of the past. We must learn from them. We must press on, forever in progression. For if we do not move forward, we can only fall back. That is our charge today. In closing, I would invite you to think about one last thing. Will we allow adversity to bar our progress? No. We will never stop innovating. We will never stop exploring. And we will never forget the sacrifices made by our predecessors. Tragedies can and will happen, and many of them will be devastating. But no one needs to face them alone. We can take courage in the face of the unknown and make innovations that will save lives in the future. President Reagan said of the Challenger crew that they honored us by how they lived their lives. So let us commit to honor them by how we live ours. Give me a challenge, and I'll meet it with joy. That was the spirit of the Challenger crew, and that is the spirit of our great pioneering way of life. Thank you.